whatever they can dodge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And they think like that. Their work is structured like that.
And do you mean in what ways would they be dodging it? Would they be just working off the books?
Yep.
Yeah,
running 2 sets of
cash
books.
in hand stuff.
Even not even to running 2 sets of books, just cash in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything
things like
is
that.
cash in
Just
hand,
pushing stuff through, trusts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you've got if you've got trusts and companies, you're still within the system.
Yeah.
People can
You're
see
just
stuff.
smart.
These are people who you can't see stuff.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, good on them,
But they're not the majority of the population. So when you pay your PAYG, you pay as you go. Most workers, you don't get a choice. It gets taken out.
No, it's right.
Yeah.
We
So
don't get
you
a
just
choice.
get it back. And that's still based on a system which privileges capital over labour.
Yeah.
So if you're a business owner, you can deduct stuff.
Yeah.
If you're salary and wage, you don't get a hell of a lot to
Yeah,
deduct.
exactly. Yeah.
And professions that can deduct are really, really old school physical labour.
Yeah, sure.
So boots, protective gear,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
And you think about that, that's not our economy anymore. So why
No.
is it that if you have to wear a suit to work, why can't you deduct your suit?
Why can't you? I thought you could.
Can't.
you?
No,
No.
It has to be badged.
I used to work at
employer.
Foxtel, and they said that you could get a deduct a TV cost because you
Because
have
you
to
work
at
watch
Foxtel.
Foxtel
Yeah.
to get the
On the phone.
information of the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know your product, so you have to watch TV. So you have to have TV at home to
Yeah.
watch it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you can't deduct a suit,
But if it's for personal use, then you'd have to apportion it, which means how much of it's personal, how much of it
I'll
is
just
you
say
learning
it's
about
all,
TVs.
it's all research.
Yeah, well, that's
all of
right.
it.
It's all research.
All of it.
Yeah.
I just think
Not a chance.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to
Not a
work. Like
chance.
definitely.
Yeah, so,
tax.
the
All right,
tax...
well, the main, tax, whatever. Like, the main problem with tax is we want to know where our money's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is that? Oh, you said that's something that we can access.
Yeah, there's most things
Information
are in public accounts. You can follow the trail, but you've got to know what you're following.
Mm.
So all the money that's collected at a federal level goes into consolidated revenue, and then basically our parliament has to write appropriation bills to get it out. They're
Yep.
voted on, generally they're not challenged, and then that money is apportioned through the economy. Now, if you went through the budget papers, you get an idea roughly of where things are going, and they do. Treasury's pretty good at doing just little sort of circle diagrams,
Sure.
giving you chunks.
Yeah, pie charts.
Yeah, pie chart. That's it, pie chart.
Mm.
And most of ours goes into welfare, really. We pump
Yeah.
a lot of money into welfare, and it's probably the sole remaining face of humanity in our welfare state is that we do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are questions.
What
you'll
sort of
always-
welfare are you talking? It's like Centrelink or like?
Yeah, everything. Like
just-
taking care of old people, taking
Sure.
care of... welfare and health are the two biggest lags on the economy, but we have to do it because we're human beings.
Absolutely. Well, it's
We
a
have to
good
look
way to
after
look
each
at
other.
it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's
Rather
right.
than,
And I always say to people who don't want to pay their taxes, so if your next door neighbour's kid gets hit by a car in the street, do you want the ambulance to get there? Do you want them to be operated on by the best surgeon? Do you want them to have a chance at recovery, or are you happy for them to die because they can't access it at the hospital?
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So it can't be about you.
Quickly cut, yeah.
When you're talking about tax, it can't be about you.
Yeah, that's
it's got to
so
be
true,
about
yeah.
the rest of, whoever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking after each other.
Yeah.
That all makes sense to me.
Does it? That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
It's a contribution. We're contributing. We're contributing to society.
Absolutely, and that's why we live in the best country in the world, because we've got a system which is gives you the options to be able to have your free healthcare and have your
Fits and starts, though. You think about it. We are an incredibly conservative voting nation. We've voted in a bunch of miners and farmers and their constituencies for most of our suffrage as a nation.
Yeah.
Suffrage.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got to take your suffrage seriously. And the few times where we've had left-leaning governments, we've had to build that up because we never fought. Like, we didn't fight for this nation. Right?
No, yeah.
Basically, it happened overnight. We gave
Yeah.
stuff away. We pretended like Aboriginal culture was important and made us different from Europeans.
Yeah.
Off the basis of that, we said we need to standardise excise laws across boundaries, and we would like a uniform rail gauge, and that's basically it.
I have no idea what the fuck you just said.
So excise is basically
Yeah.
charges
Yeah.
on producing things, and like customs is things going across borders.
Okay.
Because they were all the states were like separate countries. You
Yeah,
had the Queen
yeah,
as their
yeah, yeah.
queen. Every time you crossed the border, you had to pay a tax.
Yeah.
And so someone who was moving kangaroo pelts from Queensland to Victoria to have them tanned pay taxes in Queensland, in New South Wales coming in,
Yeah.
New South Wales going out, into Victoria.
Yeah, right.
That increased the cost of everything to everyone.
Yeah.
So we federated to get rid of it. So only the feds, only the Commonwealth could collect those things.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
We collect them as one nation.
Can you apply that to
Do
the
we
world?
still pay tax
On what?
to
I don't know what we do with the
UK?
plane. I wonder about that too. I don't know.
Do we?
I don't
do
know
we
if
give
we
them
do.
money?
I don't know if we do. I don't
What? Just because they
We've
are
got
part
a
of our
because
we
flag?
got- because we got-
Constitutional
They're
monarchy.
on because we're part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they colonised us and like,
I always thought
What
we
did they
did,
do
but,
for us?
but
What
that's
did they
probably
do for
because I
us?
just think we do.
Yeah. I
What did
thought,
they
like,
do
when
for
did
us,
it
though?
die off? Did we slowly go, well, we're probably not going to give you any more money anymore? And like,
I
you
don't
know,
reckon we would, because when we had the referendum, like, what was 10 years ago or something,
Yeah.
people voted no, so I assume that we're not
They
giving
only,
money.
they only
We got-
voted. They voted. We didn't vote for a republic because we're given models, right? And that's John Howard being a sneaky rat.
yeah,
If he gave us one option, yes or no, do you want to be a constitutional monarchy or do you want to be a republic?
yeah,
Would have unified the Republican vote. Whereas if I ask you, do you want the Governor General to be a rubber stamp and become the president who's just a rubber stamp, or do you want a presidential style? Bicameral is the word that they use because we've got a Senate and a House of Representatives. You want a Senate and House of Representatives
yeah.
with a Prime Minister and whatnot, and then a President?
Mm.
Or is it just going to be... Then really, for us being a republic, the Governor General or the President, who would become the President, is just the keeper of the rubber stamp.
Yeah.
Or do we want something more presidential? Do we want them to be able to intervene? You know, what powers do we give them?
Exactly.
Okay.
What would be the fundamental difference between a republic and what we got at the moment?
Well, we're just
Oh.
cutting... I think it's a mental thing. We're
Is
cutting...
it is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
We're
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
saying we're big enough to stand on our own two
Yeah.
feet. We don't care that Mummy abandoned
Oh,
us
I mean,
to
we
this
got the-
I
wasteland.
just don't
We
see
got
any
the
relevance
11th.
to the whole thing at all.
Yeah.
We got the
There's no
11th biggest economy in the world. I think we can stand on our own 2 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
we're about ready.
Yeah, well, that's right. But we probably were before.
I just read an article before, absolutely, and I just read an article before that they've just found $20 trillion worth of oil in South Australia.
Wasn't that wrong, though? Did they...
Is it wrong?
Yeah,
Because I was looking at those figures and I'm going,
No.
Australia has never really exported oil,
No.
and why would we have just figured it
I
out?
used to work in petroleum excise, and
Oh, really?
Really?
yeah.
What do you do with that? Like,
Yeah.
skies and everything.
That petroleum excise is a really interesting patch to work in.
Yeah, right.
And you learn a lot about oil and the sort of oil that we have. We have,
Let's talk about oil for a second.
yeah.
Because let's talk about oil for the average person at home, because a lot of people don't even know what oil is. They just
Yeah.
go, oil, what does it do? Where does it come from? How much does our society rely on it?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's in every industrial process.
Every
It's like the
industrial
pig.
process.
It's like the pig. Well, not everyone, but in
Yeah.
loads of our industrial processes
Yeah.
are based on oil. And what we don't, that's what I was going to say. See, Australia has a really light type of crude oil. So
Yeah.
crude oil is basically plants pressurised over time becoming liquid. So
That's
hydrocarbons, right? It's
Yes.
hydrocarbons.
Ancient sunlight.
Ancient sunlight.
Yeah, yeah.
Sunlight and carbon dioxide
Mm.
from the air.
Yeah.
We have light crude, which means that we've got the top cuts, which are like petroleum, kerosene, all of those things, a bit of diesel.
Yeah.
But we don't have the bottom cuts,
Mhm.
which is asphalt. So for us to
Right.
build roads,
Is that
we
the
need
good
to-
shit?
No, it's a bad thick
That's
shit.
a bit. Oh, of course.
That's
yeah.
not fuel.
Yeah.
It's not fuel, but the thicker bits can be cracked down to make the smaller bits.
Okay.
Right? And you can. I don't know if you can go the other way. You probably can.
I thought the most oldest stuff was the best. Like the bottom layers was
Well,
I don't
you've
know,
got to
maybe.
process it more to
Yeah,
get to
it.
the stage of what we needed. The less you have to process it, like I mean, during when the United States was the biggest producer of oil, of oil in the world, they would just literally had oil fields that were just like spurting out of the ground.
Mm.
Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
just have to drill down like a couple of meters and
Texas.
it's just
like
like,
in Mossam,
yeah, like-
hillbillies or whatever.
and that stuff, and then that
Texas-
stuff's just like
Texas tea.
just stuff. Put a cup out and then just put it in your car, sort of thing. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
But that's why I get like we were talking the other day about fracking and all this
That's
shit.
light
Like,
crude.
yeah. Well, things we have to do now to get the oil, like what we
Yeah.
go out into the middle of the ocean, drill fucking 2 kilometres down, and like
Are you guys down with Gunter Pauli?
about no,
Gunter Pauli, jump onto RN. People out there, jump onto RN Radio National.
yeah,
And look, I think it's in Big Ideas. There's a thing on Gunter Pauli is an inventor and an innovator. That's stuff I'm really into, innovation.
Mhm.
But not innovation for innovation. Innovation because human beings are able to adapt, but we've got to really think about how we use
Mhm.
what we are to create a habitat for everyone.
Yeah.
And he has, I think in that he talks about an algae that's been developed.
Blue algae or something like that?
I don't know what sort it is,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been developed in the States, so you can basically harvest carbon dioxide, add water to it, and this algae will make you crude oil
Yes.
as its waste product.
Yeah, I've watched.
Wow.
I watched the documentary.
And so they were buying at like thousands of dollars. They were buying compressed carbon dioxide because they needed it for the process.
Yeah.
And then they realised they could just put these big pillars up into the air and suck down carbon dioxide to use for their process. And they basically made a...
It's like a reverse global warming, you know what
Oh,
I
it
mean?
may
Like,
not have been
that's-
him.
that's
It could have been a bloke. There's an English bloke who did like a tour of the world looking for sustainable ideas.
Yeah.
Can't remember what his name is, but he was looking like it's called something like Someone's Search for Hope or something like this, and he just went around looking for who was doing what, and these guys were doing this in the States.
Yeah.
So they've created a carbon neutral oil refinery.
well, then, okay, so is that...
You need to
Working?
get it to scale. Yeah, they're working.
Why
they're
can't
making
we
it.
do that then? Is there a reason
well,
why
we
that's
can,
being
we can.
rejected?
Well,
Yeah.
is it a roundabout process? Well, no, actually. Okay,
Carbon-
let me say it. Is it
Yeah.
a roundabout process, polluting and then depolluting, just to maintain the status quo?
We've got to think about everything that produces carbon though. So there's carbon dioxide coming out of the
Good
sea.
point. Good point.
Because it's warming up,
So,
right?
yeah.
And there's carbon dioxide produced by plants when they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Animals,
always there.
yeah.
Carbon that's us. We're
Mhm.
carbon. This
Good
world
point.
is carbon,
Good
right?
point. Yeah.
We're going to hit a point in time where carbon black, like that pure carbon, is going to be worth shitloads of money.
Yeah.
Because once you've got 3D printers, printing carbon. Why not?
Holy shit!
Printing
Yes.
carbon. Molecular level, lasers, building something at one atom at a time. Graphene, have you heard of graphene?
Yeah.
Graphene's going to be the thing.
So you know how we're talking the layers, like
Yeah.
There's layers, yeah. So
Like, and then you
they
build-
basically do it at almost like with graphene, it'll be at a single atom level as I understand it. But at really thin levels, just layering and layering. So you get these really complex objects and
Yeah.
shapes which you can't make
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've layered it layer on layer on layer. You can replicate any car part. So eventually they'll be able
So is
to
that
do
the
that.
overall goal? We'll just pollute until the point where we got that, and then we'll.
I don't know. Like, see, the goal is consciousness. The goal's never going to be physical.
Yeah.
See, so we're not going to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we can try all the physical shit we want.
So just to with all your infinite wisdom, is global warming actually happening?
I reckon it's happening.
Okay, but you also have heard the other side of this.
Yeah, I reckon
story.
it's happening. But then again, look, the climate. But who gives a fuck if it's happening or not? Why wouldn't you just go green?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Thank
Who
you.
gives a
More
fuck?
efficiency.
Fuck even the efficiency. Like
Yeah.
I can live in a city
Yeah.
that is polluted, and the children who are growing in that city will develop respiratory issues,
Yeah.
which are going to cost me billions of dollars within the next 20 to 25 years.
Yeah.
Or I can live in a city that has no pollution,
Yeah.
and the kids are going to grow up healthy with fully formed organs and brains, and are going to be this shining generation that leads humanity to something great.
To the
Which
abyss.
Which one do I choose?
Yeah.
Which one do I choose? I don't give a fuck if your car pollutes or not. Why would you choose?
Yeah.
Why would you choose to do this fuck
If the
dirty
technology's there.
If the
Well, we all know how the economic system works, and where
Well,
the profit lies, and that's
thing? Well,
that's
because
why we
it's not.
choose.
This isn't capitalism. It's rentier capitalism.
Yeah.
So people take.
Rentier capitalism.
Yeah. So it's people taking rents on the environment, on human labour,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
on
I like that.
third world labour, taking rents on shit that they should pay for, right? So if I said to them, people who want to, I think about this shit a lot,
Yeah.
right? But not for sustainability, just for how does this system work, right? But,
Surely.
and you want to chop down that forest?
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to support
Yeah.
you to chop down the
Invest
fucking
in
forest.
you.
No.
No.
I'm going to have a team of biologists go through there, catalogue the biodiversity there, work out how much money it would cost to replace 1 hectare by 1 hectare of that biodiversity. Cost it, because it's going to be billions of dollars. You can pay the $1 billion first, chop it down, and then sell the wood.
Well, that would be nice.
Tell us
That's
pay
how
us the
things work.
replacement cost.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
wouldn't
Pay
it?
us the replacement cost. So they're just taking rents on the environment. You can't. If it was capitalism, pure capitalism, everything would be costed.
Sure.
You just wouldn't do things because it just costs too much.
Yeah.
I've heard so many sentences in the past we've done a few podcasts in the past few, so many sentences where my brain has been muddled and confused about trying to think of why the fuck are we at this point and why has it been so difficult for us to understand, and then just a sentence like that, and then I'm like, yeah, alright, It's really easy, actually.
Yeah, but you get through the muddle, don't you? Like, everyone has to get through the muddle.
Yeah.
And the confusion is part of the way it works. It's like,
Yeah.
Marx a long time ago said that religion is